Hello everyone, Sire here. This is a continuation video on the Scrapping for Less's December 2019 card kit. I have created 5 cards using each of the individual collections, including the banana split. And now, not to waste too much time, as this video is a little bit long already, let's get started with the first card. I will start with collection 1, which is called Puppy Hugs and Kisses. And I'm going to try my best to give as much details as possible, but this video is sped up 300 times, so it's going to move fast. But I grabbed one of the little puppies with the little bow tie around the neck, and I'm going to stamp that using my Misty. Using the Nina 110 Classic Cut Smooth card that comes with it. I am using my Stands-On ink. I don't know if this is just me that has this problem, but I realized that the ink was really juicy, I guess you can say. And so I stamped it the first time, and it was really lopsided, almost like it was thick on some spots and not thick on other parts. And so I flipped the paper over. I washed the ink, or I tried to wash it actually, but that ink was not coming off, so it's pretty permanent. And I stamped it again, and I'm still not 100% happy with it. But I thought I would go for it for now, and then I went to stamp another sediment, which is Woof You Be Mine. And I'm going to try the ink one more time, but I just wasn't having any luck with it at all. Even with the word, it just seems, maybe I'm pressing too hard. I'm not sure. But what I end up doing is just tossing that, and I cut another piece out of the classic smooth crust neon paper, and I'm going to stamp it again, but I'm going to try another one, and it's my archival ink. And the reason I was using the Stands-On is because I thought it would be better with alcohol markers. I have used the Ranger's archival ink before, and I realized that the alcohol markers made the ink bleed. And you can see the comparison there. It's just, it wasn't good. The second one is way more balanced. It's definitely not too thick in some areas, but I'll play with it. I'm sure Stands-On is a good brand. I'm just not sure what I'm doing. So I'm not going to color on screen. I'm going to start here, just because I wanted to speed up time, and maybe if I was doing one card, I would keep the coloring in, but I'm actually using a bunch of different markers. I have grays from Spectrum Noir. I am using Nuvo for the blues, and then I have one Copic red marker, which is for the tongue. So there we go. I've already die cut them out. We use just fussy cutting them out. And so the grays, like I said, are in Spectrum Noir, and then the blues are Nuvo, and the red and pink is Copic. I've trimmed out some of the Wild Cherry cardstock and some pattern paper, and they measure about 4/1/8 by 5/3/8 and 4 by 5/4. And now I'm just going to stamp that sediment, the Woof You Be Mine sediment. And I want on a straight line. I don't want it stacked like it is, and I didn't feel it cutting the stamp. What I could have done, and I didn't think about it until much later, was I could have put a post-it note or a piece of paper or something over the bottom piece so that I wouldn't have to wipe it off and stamp it. But what I wanted to do, I did accomplish it, so it's okay. It's not too bad. It is a smaller stamp, but yeah, I think I made it wasn't stamping well. I realized what I do is I touch it. I'm touching it too much, and it's taking the ink off, so I have to learn how not to do that. But so I'm going to try it again and get my static cling there, or static powder in there, and I'm going to stamp it one more time. So I'll start with the Woof U and wipe off the bottom there. And I'm going to stamp that with the distressed embossing ink. And then I am going to move the stamp up a little bit. And once again, I'm sorry off on camera. I think my camera is not aligned properly. It showed that it was all in screen when I was videotaping it, but it's definitely not anymore. But I'll figure it out so that these things don't happen. I'm also going to grab some white embossing powder. This is super fine white by Ranger. And I'm going to heat emboss that off of camera. But first I'm just going to make sure that none of that extra embossing ink or powder is there. So I have a brush and I'm just going to wipe that off. And this blue strip is the width of the card, which is 4 1/4 by, I don't know how high it is. It might be only about maybe 1/2 inch. So another part of this collection does come with an XOXO ribbon, and I thought it looked really nice with this paper, so I decided that I would take a piece of that and I'm going to wrap it around. Right now I'm just trying to get the positioning right. But I'm going to glue or tape that ribbon around the puppy print specialty paper by Scrapping For Less. And I have some double-sided tape. I'm just going to stick the ribbon on both sides of that, and then make sure it's nice and straight. And then when that's done, I'm also going to put some sticky double-sided tape on top of that as well. That's just to keep it down, keep it a little more secure, so that it doesn't come undone at any point. I have my art glitter glue, which is one of my favorite glues so far, and I'm going to stick that onto the Wild Cherry cardstock. And then I realized that the ribbon actually was kind of popping up there and I didn't want it to move. So I'm going to take some more of that double-sided tape. This is from scrappingbook.com. I decided to try their double-sided tape. And so far it's working very well. No complaints there. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend you can try that. Now I'm grabbing some of these double-sided foam tapes. I'm not sure which brand this is. It's just something I have in my stash. You can use any foam tape for this. It is a 1/16 of an inch high. So I glue that just slightly over the ribbon, so it's just hanging over there. And now I'm going to prop up the dog, the cute little puppy, and I'm going to overhang it a bit on top of that blue sediment there. So I'll just put a little bit of glue and then I'm going to prop up the rest so that it's all nice and flush. And then now I'm just going to glue this onto the base. The base is a top folding card. It's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it leaves about 1/8 of an inch of a white border. I did have these die cuts that came with the collection, and the bone was cute, but I couldn't figure out where to put it. So instead, I decided to grab some of those enamel dots and just place them all over the card, about 3 of them. And so that concludes that card, and let's move right into the second card. I have this heart-shaped card, or a heart-shaped, I used my Cricut to cut it. And I did make this sheet myself. And because I didn't have any dies on hand, I thought I would try this out. I'm going to say right off the top, this is my absolute least favorite card. And the reason I kept it is because I actually stressed a lot about this card because I'm always, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to be too perfectionist, even though this is all new to me. And I started to feel that maybe other people are also having the same trouble with where they feel intimidated because if they try and they don't get a card that looks to a good standard, maybe they won't do it anymore. And so I decided, instead of remaking and try to make a better one, I would just keep this card in this video and show that it's okay to make cards that aren't the best to your standard. Maybe someone will like them. I'm sure someone will, because we all have different standard or different likes and dislikes. But for me, I really don't like this one, but I tried. Like right now, I'm taking some embossing powder and I wanted to try to make my own background. So what I did was I took all that and I used some glitter embossing powder, and see, I've made a kind of a background, and I'm going to glue that on. And this is the beginning of the part that I don't like. I do like the shape of the heart, but what it is you'll see a little bit later that I should have just trimmed that red piece that you're seeing right now to follow the border of the heart like I do on the bottom instead. But I thought it'd be, at the time, it would be kind of neat just to have the red just fill it right to the top. But you can just tell by looking at it that it is lacking something. So right here, I have the bottom and it's just the border. And I really like that. It's kind of nice. I should have done the same thing for the top. But needless to say, no more beating myself up. I am proud that I have that I did it. I tried different techniques, and right now, because I mentioned earlier that I keep touching with my hand, and what happened was all the embossing got wiped off, so the embossing powder actually didn't stick very well. So I'm going to do it again, and this is like a tinsel. I think it's called tinsel. And I don't recommend this at all. It's very messy, and when you use your heat embossing, you just see the glitter just blowing everywhere. So this particular brand is very messy, and it doesn't seem to stick as well as the white, let's just say. But it is pretty. It is very nice. But there's my Swiffer, a well-used Swiffer, and I'm wiping it up. So I'm going to take that. So move this up, and you can see I'm going to take one of the wood pieces, and I think I stick with the white one, and I want to use that as the filler of the rest of the hole in that die. And this is where it would have been nice if the wood actually showed up at the top as well. So like I mentioned, if I had trimmed the top piece so that it just followed the border, then you would see the wood on the top and the bottom, and it would kind of feel like a complete card. But that's okay. I have no complaints, other than it's just not my favorite card. I mean, it's cute, but there's definitely room for improvement, and that is 100% okay. I don't want to be perfect all the time, because then it will get boring. And it is a lesson to myself to learn. Oh, so I'm going to use that StazOn ink again, and so this time it worked. So I'm not sure what I did different, but this time this ink did not glop everywhere. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to fill this pink heart, because the pink heart is really big. It's taking up the whole card. And so I have these punch out for hearts, and in the collection, which I'm sorry is called Would You Be Mine, also contained 3 wooden hearts. So I was trying to see if I can use those on this kit. It wasn't catching my eye. I think I was still a little bit disappointed with the card, so I went with an easy solution. And I'm just going to matte my sediment with the same red wild cherry cardstock, and then I'm going to take some foam adhesive and I'm going to glue it to the back, and I'm going to center it in the middle of the heart. Now I'm playing with those hearts again, and I decide that I'm going to I'll use something different. I'm just going to glue this onto my card first, my base, which is also a top folding card. And once again, it is a 4.5 by 5, no, 4.25 by 5.5. Now it is kind of bare. And so in this collection, also there was some golden hearts, enamel hearts. So I'm just going to put about 3 of them in there. What you don't see in this is I take a white gel pen and I add my own stitch around the whole heart. And you can see that if you go to my blog, sorry, if you go to my blog and look at the close-ups. But that's it for now. Okay, so on to card number 3. This is collection 3 called Friendship. It came with a stencil with a bunch of arrows and hearts, and I wanted to try something with more embossing powder. And so I've taken my distressed embossing ink again, and I'm just taking one of those big daubers and just covering the whole thing. This is a scrapbook.com dauber. It came free when I ordered my tape. Now I'm making sure not to touch any of it because I don't want any of it to disappear. And this is once again the super fine white embossing powder by Ranger. And just a side note, I have a mat on the back just so that when I'm doing some inks and that's coming up, don't use that to catch your powder. I did that and all the powder stuck to it because it is kind of tacky, and I lost a lot of my powder because I could not really get it off without making a mess. So that's why in this second clip I actually had a piece of paper underneath to catch it off so I can put it back in the container. So I'm starting off with my distressed ink, which is Picket Fence. I did this because I bought it and I never get to use it, so you don't see it really, but I'm adding it because I have it. And then I'm going to use, I can't remember the colors offhand. I think it's picked raspberry and sponge sugar, and then I'm using candied apple on the very top. That red, oh my goodness, that really saturates. These are really good. I'm just getting into the oxides. Like I said, getting into card making is all new, so I'm learning all these new techniques. And I will say that when I watched people make cards with distress oxides, I didn't believe it. I thought they were just professionals, and they are. Sorry, they are professionals, but this ink really works well, and I was really happy with that. So I'm just going to take my microcloth and I'm just going to kind of wipe off so that my embossing powder or my embossing kind of shines bright again. And I'm very happy with it, but I just want to try one more little technique that I've seen people do, and they just add a little bit of water and a paintbrush, and they're just going to flick some of that pink onto the whole card. I want to get a little bit of splatter on there and see what it looks like. And I am going to use my heat gun to off camera to dry it, and then add more, and then dry it again. So there's the final product. I think it looks beautiful. I'm very happy at how easy that is. And I'm going to take that piece of paper and just see if that looks good with this card that I just made. I've taken out one of my die cuts and I've cut this piece out, and it just has a bunch of little dots all over it. And then I'm going to take that, it's one of my favorite papers in this collection, and I'm going to trim it so that it is about, I keep forgetting the size. I think it's going to be just 1/8 of an inch on both sides off. So what would that be? That's 4 1/4 by 5 3/8 maybe. I should have measured these before I started the video, but anyways, I'm going to take my clear glue and I'm going to map this on one of the Night Shift blue cardstock that comes with the kit, just to give it a little transition before it hits that that pattern paper. There we go. There's the right word. And that just gives it, so because you have two really fancy pieces of paper, just by adding that matte, it kind of diffuses it and gives it a separation, but not too much. It's not too bold, and but it does give you that break, which is really nice. I have to say that all the card stock that comes in this kit matches beautifully with all the paper. So I'm very happy with this. And I mentioned that in the unboxing that I absolutely love this kit this month. I've taken two of the oh my goodness, these these sticky things, the dots, they are really sticky. I can see why people love them, but you have to be careful because these are paper flowers, and it does tear. So that's why I was having trouble trying to get off my finger without ripping the petals. So I did do it, and I stuck them onto the bottom left side of that card there. Now I'm going to take one of the sentiments, and it says Happy Valentine's Day. And I'm just going to stamp that on a piece of the 110 cardstock that comes with the kit. I'm trying the StazOn StazOn ink again. It did not work well, so I actually tried a second time, and very luckily I was able to position it perfectly. It's just really weird ink. First, it's too heavy, and then second time it worked well, and this time it was too light. So I can't recommend this product myself just because I'm having so much trouble with it. But the archival ink definitely is so far my favorite. I'm just not 100% on it for alcohol markers. I did have a bad experience. So I've matted this sediment on a piece of scrap paper, which is also the same of the pattern paper. I'm taking some foam adhesive and I'm just putting it on the back, and I'm going to stick this in the middle of the card slightly under that one flower just to give it a little bit of layering effect. Then I'm going to actually take some of the enamel dots that comes in the kit. It's a beautiful rosy color, and I'm just going to put a couple here and there. So about 3 of them. And that finishes that card. For number 4, I'm using Collection 4 called Snail Mail, and I had a lot of fun with this card. Once again, I did not record any of the coloring just to save some time. But I did ink the mailbox, the snail, and a couple of envelopes and some hearts. And these all come with that really cute stamp set. It reminds me of kind of like a lawn fawn, where you just ink everything and you cut them out and just make a nice little scene, and that's what I've done. And at this point, my camera didn't capture me making this grassy scene. I did just draw this with a marker, and I colored it with some of my Nuvo pens. I actually had recorded this whole thing of me trying to use colored pencils. I didn't like it, so I just deleted the whole thing. So there's no point showing it to you. But during the process, I forgot to record this piece of grass. But like I said, all I did was I just took, actually I started off with a pencil, and I kind of copied the grass that you would see on the mailbox at the bottom. And then when I colored it, then I took a black jelly roll pen and I just did the whole thing on the top to outline that black. And after cutting it, there was a little bit of white left. So I'm actually just taking a Sharpie, a black Sharpie, just to remove any of that white color. Because I want that black outline, and you'll see that it matches very closely to the mailbox, because the mailbox has that grassy area, I guess you can say, on the post. I've cut out a piece of that blue raspberry cardstock that comes in the kit, and I'm taking Broken China, I believe it's called. And it's not an oxide, it's just the ink. And I'm just being very careful to blend this on the bottom without creating too harsh of lines. It is a little bit harder than the oxides, but if you just take it slowly and work really gradually, you will get it. It's a little bit more time consuming. So I just want it to go up a little bit because I kind of want it so that it's dark on the bottom and you can imagine the top as clouds, so it's lighter on the top. I do grab for my white picket fence again because I'm so determined to use this color, but it was so pointless. You cannot see it on the blue raspberry. I'm just so determined, but oh well, at least I tried. You don't know until you try, but maybe you do see something but that I could just be hoping. I don't know. But anyways, I'll put that aside and just be happy with the dark blue on the bottom. And I'm just positioning things around because I want to see where I'm going to stick my sediment. Yeah, not much, just playing around. So I'm going to glue the grass onto the bottom. I was thinking about using foam tape, but I decided that I would just have this one flush and then use the foam tape on the mailbox. Anything that's hanging over, I am trimming it with some scissors. And then I'm going to take some of these adhesive foam squares, which comes with the banana split, and I'm just going to put them all over this mailbox. The post is a little bit skinnier, so I didn't use my scissors to slice it in half. I'm going to put some of the foam dots on the snail, and I'm going to put it on the envelopes, and I will put it on one of the hearts. Now I'm just going to position it, once again, just to know exactly where I want to stamp my sediment. I am going to use the one, "You Make My Heart Smile." I do not recommend putting a stamp on after you've already set everything up. I was actually very lucky that I didn't smudge it. So just be very careful with that. But it worked out well, and we're going to continue. So I'm just gluing all these little pieces on. I did put the little envelope on top of the snail. I thought that was really cute. It looks like he's kind of taking his love letter out that belongs to him. And I'm just going to position all these hearts and envelopes around the mailbox. I kind of wanted to give the impression that the mailbox bursted open and all this love is coming out. Hearts and love letters. I really love this. It really hits home. It's just so cute. And so adding that little snail with his own little love letter, whether he's going to be delivering it to someone, a snail mail maybe, there's the pun there, right? He's actually a snail mailing it. Anyways, so I'm going to take one of these sprinkles, which are absolutely adorable by Doodlebug, and I'm going to put that in the corner. I did try one of the clouds, but I thought it was too much. So I just did the sun. If you actually caught that, I didn't glue one of the hearts down, and it fell down. But you'll see what I do next. It actually turned out really well. So that's a little something to look forward to. There's a little heart right there on the mat there. So I'm going to glue this onto my absolute favorite piece of pattern paper in this collection, and then I'm going to glue that onto. You won't see it very much, but I took another piece of blue raspberry, and it's going to have an 1/8 of an inch border. So I kind of made it too skinny. I should have done at least a quarter maybe, but that's okay. It's not too busy, so it works. I am going to put this onto a side folding, actually it's top side folding, so it's 5.5 by 4.25. So that's that heart. I did find it, and I actually put it right above the sun. Really cute. I thought that was cute. He's also in love. Now for the final card. This is the banana split card. So what I wanted to do was use up the die cut that comes with it and the sequences and such. This card is inspired by that lovely ice cream, how you see it, the Neapolitan, I think it is. So it's the strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. That's the inspiration of this card. All of these colors come in the card kit. So that's the chocolate, the pink lemonade, and of course then the 110 classic smooth solar white Nina paper. I've used the die cut to cut the love out 3 times, and now I'm giving it the tri-layer. So the brown, white, and then pink. I've kept the centers of the hearts because I'm going to use those later. I have cut out a rectangle using this die. It is a die cut rectangle with polka dots in it. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the spun sugar and I'm going to coat the base card just slightly all around, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that die rectangle on top of that, and I just want the pink to kind of show just on the outside of it. Once I do that, then I'm going to do the outline of the card. What I realized though is that it wasn't really showing as much as I wanted to. I could have used that darker pink that I have, but instead, because I'm using brown, I decided I'll take the vintage photo and just add a little bit just on the top edge. So it just creates a little very, very fine brown dark layer. And you can see that now it kind of pops a little more. I'm going to glue this onto, but first what I need to do is get a pin, and I needed to poke out the little holes. My die's not very good. I got it from Amazon, and it's not the best. But what happened was someone phoned me, and I didn't know when they do that, it stops recording, even though I said not to accept it. So I'm sorry that all the gluing was chopped off this video. But what I'm doing now is I'm just taking all the sequences and finding the pinks, browns, and whites, and I'm just gluing them on. You can see that I have put the 3 hearts that were the centers of the love die, and I've made them lap each other. So they kind of follow that same brown, white, pink. And then I'm gluing the sequences on using my jewel picker. So that's it. This is absolutely the simplest of the cards, and probably one of my favorites. It's very clean, elegant, and I just love that 3 color. I have slowed down the video, and I'm just going to show you one more time the 5 cards that were created during this kit. I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly had a lot of fun with this kit, and I hope that it has created some inspiration for you to create your own cards. Just remember that it's okay if you try to make something and it just doesn't turn out. Don't get discouraged. Don't spend your time watching other people on YouTube wishing that you can create cards like them. That's something that I've done, and that's why I beat myself up so many times when I feel like I've disappointed myself. And that's definitely the reason why I decided to leave that second card in this video. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's not something I should be disappointed of. I'm very happy that I gave it a try and I tried new techniques. So just remember, have fun. That's the bottom line. This is a hobby to have a lot of fun, and that's all you can hope for. And I hope that you don't ever get in a situation where you stop making cards or crafting in general just because you feel like you can't meet to the standards of some of these excellent crafters out there, because you are excellent. You just need to give yourself the confidence and practice. I mean, that's what it is. But I think I'm rambling. Thank you so much for watching. And I will catch you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.